So hi and welcome back to the channel. I've got two 5 litre kegs here. One's a mini cask, one's a mini keg. So this mini keg here is basically, I've got to be careful because it's been settling, right? This is the Everards 4x4 Session IPA from their small batch range. They've been a really good job of all these small batch, and Luke at Everards gave me a very kindly gave me a sample of this, which was really good for a 4.4% session ale. It's very, very nice. So I'm going to talk about this. This is about to go on the hand pull. So this is a mini cask. So basically it's different to these. They're filled fresh from the brewers, right, with fresh beer directly from the cellar. I'm reading it here as well, so don't get it wrong. Got a shorter shelf life, which you'd expect. So these are soft carbonation. It's got live yeast, so it goes through sort of second fermentation in here, in the cask itself as the yeast matures. So I really, really like these. And what's great about these is I can use this vertical extractor from RLBS. Hope I got that right, Spenno. So this has been cleaned, everything's been cleaned. So I can use that, but this is basically a mini keg. So this has got filtered beer in it. It will last for 30 days once open. It's been carbonated, and it's got a little CO2 canister in there, which you've probably seen these. I'm sure there's a lot of breweries doing this. I love Old Original. It's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just to start by showing you this again. You've seen it on the video. Now, the only thing is, right, as soon as you do what I'm about to do here, you've got no comeback on these, right? So you're basically adapting their keg. But because these are a cask, it's just beer in a barrel. It's just the same as if you had a barrel of beer delivered to the pub and you tap it, or vertical extract, however you want. It's just beer with live yeast that needed to settle in a barrel. So yeah, but everyone's telling me that, yeah, it's great basically what I'm doing, but you are adapting these, so you avoiding any sort of guarantee or warranty. So I'll get a close up just to show you this again if you've not already watched the other video, but there is a full length video about this when I had the Irish Red. But anyway, nice clean screwdriver. So what we want to do is we just want to undo the top of that just to vent it. Now you will find, and I've not done it yet, I love Ghost Ship, Adam's Ghost Ship. And I really, really, really want to do it with them kegs. Now, them kegs are not like this. I think they're carbonated, filtered, carbonated. You probably will get a lot more sort of pressure release out of them. With these being the soft carbonation, you don't really get too much. So the last one, just come off by hand, just pull it off by hand. Dead easy, all right? Inside here, and yes, these go through a second fermentation. I am terrible at saying words, but basically it's almost like when you have a bottle conditioned beer. There's live yeast in there, so it goes through a bit of a conditioning in the bottle. This is sort of going through a conditioning in the barrel. So in there, I'm not sure what it is, but it's a simple bosh, and it's in, right? So now we're into the beer, right? So yes, this has all been clean, but I just want to show you this in here. So I've cleaned this, sanitised this, and I'll show you in a second what I've used, because a few people have been asking about how I clean the glasses. It's got a little hot filter in there. This is absolutely brilliant. I'm really quite particular about keeping clean. My hands have all been washed and everything. Now, make sure you get that nice, really nice and tight. I'm actually going to grab it in my clean shorts to do this. So get that nice and tight on there. Now this is a filter. It's really clever. I've talked about this before, but that seals the top there, so no air gets in here like it is now, but the air goes into the beer through there. So as you draw it off, the air goes in and through there, but not actually until. So look at that. Look how that seals so good in there. Look, it's there on its own, right? This all the way down to the bottom. Now, till it hits the bottom, it's got, I didn't show you, it's got a little angle at the bottom of this. So it's sort of like, it's got a splayed, so obviously if you put it all the way down to the bottom, you won't get the beer up, but it's got a little angle on it. It's absolutely amazing. I really recommend this. Then the handle, gets me every time. It's great. The handle goes over the top. Bosh, done. It's absolutely fabulous. So then I'm going to get this back into the fridge, and this is from your pint 365 over here. Still got the leather bridges pump clip on, which I'm going to try and put a little pump clip version of this on. And this just simply pushes straight in there. It's absolutely incredible. So I'm going to get this back in the fridge. I'm going to get it lined up, just pull off a pint off just to get the little bit of any little bits of water, tiny bit that'll mix in the pump. And then ready for a little family sort of get together in a bit. And then I will talk to you about this beer. Catch you shortly in about a second. So here we are, and we're all ready to go. Anyway, I'll be talking about this. A few people have asked me about how I clean and sanitize things. Anyway, I've flashed that up. That's going to be in a separate video. This is all about Everards. So my local brewery, Everards, my local proper Leicestershire brewery. Now I haven't done anything. I mean, I'm going to go and try and print off the label so I can stick it on here, so I can pull it through. So just for now, I'm going to take off my leather breeches thing, and we're going to get a glass out. Now, what I like to do, agree with me or not agree with me, especially with like sort of session ales and IPAs, things like that. It's just what I like to do. I don't know. Tell me if I'm doing wrong. I don't know. I've got a nice clean bucket of cold water here. It's, you know, we're talking 26 degrees in here. It doesn't feel it because it's in the shade, but I've got a nice cold. So I'm gonna get this glass, this jug, swirl it around in this water just to get it a little bit, take the warmth out of it, and you know, so it's gonna have a, you know, it might have a little bit in there, it won't have nothing, and we're going to pour one of these pints through. You're not actually going to see me do it because I don't want to pull the camera about. Now, I haven't pulled a full pint through at all, so I don't know how it pours. You actually have to get to learn your beer, don't you? You know, when you first pour, you have to get to learn the beer. Now, I do like, as typical Brits, and I watched a video the other day about this. We either like a head or we don't. For me, if I'm having sort of like pint of Old Original, pint Tiger, that sort of thing, and just a normal traditional sort of bitter or a porter or anything like that, I just like a nice sort of thin head. When I'm down the Spencer Arms and I can pour the beer exactly how I want to pour it, I can learn the beer. So I've poured that now, and it's given me sort of like that head. Now, I'm not worried about that. So I know how this pours now, right? And I think I probably needed to chill it down a little bit more, which it is going through that chilling process now. But I'm allowed to put whatever head I want. Now that has got a very, very nice white foamy head. Now, it looks hazy, and it does say that under chilling it can get hazy. There's also sediment in there as well that I will be dragging up, but that hop filter should sort of get rid of that. But that, look at the head on that. You can't really see any kind of, it's a hand pulled beer, isn't it? So you're not going to get all this carbonation. Right, it's a soft carbonation, isn't it? It's a hand pulled beer. So this is 4.4% using 4 hops. Definitely a citrusy hop in there. And the reason I know is because I've been told. So the hops in there, I'm going to tell you. So we've got like Azaka in there. Now that's high in alpha acids. I've been doing a bit of research, so that's gone in on the first edition. So that's going to be getting them sort of them bitterness out, them oils in the hops. First edition, meaning at the start of the boil. Now we've also got Citra in there, which is at the end towards the end of the boil. So yeah, I just had to take a moment then because yeah, I wasn't sure that I breathed in some. I've had a moment of swallowing flies for some reason. But anyway, so this is so yeah. So we got a Zaka in the early edition. Now that has got like I say a high AA alpha acid content in it. Basically, I've been doing a bit of research. If you cut hop in a half and open it up and you look under a microscope, you can actually see the oil resin in there. A bit like when they extract oil out of the cannabis plant, they can extract oil out of the hops to give like a hop extract, which you can get like then a resinous sort of flavour from the hop. But anyway, so then yeah, citrus at the end of the boil, they said, so that's giving the flavours and possibly some aromas. But then they've banged in some Nelson, Sauvin and some Goldings as a dry hopping. So we're going to get like aromas, it's saying here, like you're talking tropical fruit, grape, tangerine, grapefruit, lavender spice, some honey flavour, sweet silken honey. So yeah, you know, let's dive into this. Ooh. Now, oh yeah. Just because this is Everards, I'm not going to say it's good if it ain't. You know, I'm going to be exactly how I say it. I wanted this today. I was in the shop and I was looking around, and we've got all these different sort of like mini casks in there that I want, so I can put them on the hand pull. And I was looking, and thinking, oh, have they done like a West Coast? Because like a West Coast IPA, the hops go in right at the start of the boil, and they'll be in there right in the early edition. You get like that, leave them in. I mean, when these are saying early edition, for the amount of bitterness that's on that coming from a hop that's got a very high, I don't know what the percentage of bitterness. I'm sure when I checked, here we are, 14 to 16% in the alpha acids. This Azaka hops has got. So the lad was listening to me talking that, and he said, I think you'll like this 4x4, because it's brewed with 4 hops. So we got Azaka in the early edition, Citra at the end of the boil, Nelson, Sauvin and Goldings in the dry hop. 4 hops worked in different ways. There is some crystal malt in there, which is just like pale and crystal malt. So pale's going to be like in the base malt. The crystal malt, that is coming through now on the back end. What I love about any beer that's been made bitter, I really enjoy it when you then start to get some of that sweetness come through, but not in your face sweetness. It slowly appears. But this, the bitterness is lingering with. It's a very balanced beer. I'm very pleased with it. Anyway, Luke, so the going off at a tangent like I will. Luke says to me, right, I'll go to the bar because this is on the bar. Now I was driving, so I would have gone and had a pint, but I don't like to drink at all if I'm driving. That's just my rule. So he come and brought me like a little in like a 2/3 glass, about half of it. So I did this with it. And straight away I thought, that's surprisingly, that's got a lovely, nice, bitter kick to it. And he said, I thought you'd like that because I was overheard you talking. I thought that's great service. So anyway, I wanted to find out what was going on in this beer, because like I say, I can smell the beer. I can smell that it's citrusy. I find that I smell it better. Now I've done that, I smell it better once I've got into the beer. It's almost like I need to ignite my senses for the aromas to really start to come through. So it's not over citrusy, it's fruity. It has got them sort of tropical fruits, but it's quite sort of like subtle. So it's quite refreshing, but I don't like a big hit of Citra. I had the Duvel. Is it Duvel? Had the Duvel Citra Triple. That was just a Citra. It was crazy. I think if you're going to have a citrusy beer, look at how that the head retention on that as well is staying there. You know, it's not disappeared. It's climbing up the glass. Helps having the spilling on my paper. Helps having the glass clean. It's a very involved head of the beer. It's great. I'm getting now more than crystal malts, more of that sweetness coming through, but in a really nice. Now what I love about Everards beer, the Old Original and the Tiger. I've been to many pubs and had a pint Tiger and I thought, where is it? Where is that caramel toffee taste that I know is in there? Same with Old Original, where is it? Proper pub. So let me name a few. The Old Horse in Leicester on London Road, top of Victoria Park Road, London Road, the Old Horse. The Black Horse in Ayleston, Ayleston Village. You've got the Globe in Leicester City Centre. You've got the Horse and Trumpet in Wigston. So they're 4 pubs I can pretty much guarantee that if you go in there and have a pint Tiger or a pint of Old Original, you are gonna get the best pint. Now I went to the Horse and Trumpet. They do live bands, and I didn't want to drink Old Original because it's a bit too strong for for a night out. So the Tiger is just that, you know, a little bit in the ABV, lower in the ABV. But oh my God, when it is at the right temperature, the right the lines are clean. You know, the glasses are clean, everything is as it should be. It tastes great. It's got that caramelly, toffee taste, but not being over sweet. So I've just popped round the back of the cabin because there's a party going on there for mine and my dad's birthday. Look at this. I am really so very pleased with now. It is quite a clear pint, but it's also just got a slight haze. But what I've done with this is I'm quite with the beer fridge. I keep that at about sort of 10 degrees. We went out ladies' day yesterday and had a lot to drink, so I'm very tired and everything else. So excuse the wrinkly eyes. But yeah, with the beer fridge, I keep it about sort of 10 degrees, whereas this lends itself to being a bit colder. It's an IPA, you know, you probably need to be about 6 to 8 degrees on this. So this is chilled down. So when I first done this on the review, it probably wasn't cold enough. Whereas normally I'll say it's not warm enough. So when this was warmer, now this is what I love about beer. If you want to get the caramel notes out of this, have it a little bit warmer. But if you want to get the more hoppy notes out of this, have it a bit colder. So this needs to be really chilled, okay? So now, the finish on this beer is fantastic. The mouthfeel on this beer is fantastic. I've just gave a pint to my brother and he's straight away gone, oh, that's really nice, what's that? And that's what being a good beer is all about, is when somebody says to you, that's really nice, what is that? So I think this beer needs to be really chilled. To snort the head, to get them, crikey, snort. Do you know what? I might go into snorting the head of beer, which I think is totally illegal. Crikey, you now snorting the head of that beer is like punched me in the face with the citrus notes. That is, forget smelling it, snort the. I mean, this is a snowy white head. Look at it. So for a beer that has got like a nice sort of like, it's almost like it's just lending itself to pale sort of it's very sort of like orangey, but it's honey coloured sort of beer, but it's not sweet. So now it's cold and I'm getting the nice bitterness from it. Which is coming before the crystal malts. This is such a well balanced beer. Everards of Leicester, well done. This is one of those exceptional IPAs that has been brewed with a very complex type of malt that really does, like crystal malts are like a little bit on their own. They add so much to the beer that it's very tricky to balance it if you want a nice bitterness on the beer, because that is quite forward in its flavour. So the fact that I'm still now, the finish is, it's unbelievable. You get the bitter and you get the bitterness. The citrus is very subtle in the citrus thing, which I love. It's there, it's tropical, but it's not like a New England IPA tropical, if you know what I mean. It's there, you got to look for it, which I love. I love that about a beer. When you know it's there, when I've been told about the hops that are in there, so I know it's there. So my mind is saying, it's there. But the bitterness comes at the same time as the sweetness comes. They're shouting me. And yeah, it's just that seesaw beer. Perfectly balanced. I'm being shouted. It is my birthday, dude. So I'm off. Cheers. Now I can taste it's almost like a signature taste. You know how you have a Belgian beer that has a sort of yeasty signature? You can tell it's a Belgian beer if it's a good one. This has definitely got like an Everards signature taste to it. It's got that nice toffee undertone to it that calms the bitterness down. It's not over bitter. I would say that even though they've put this Azaka like high alpha acid hop in the early edition, I'd possibly say it hasn't been in there for the full 60-minute boil. Say it's probably been in there a little less, because it's not overly bitter. It's not crazily bitter. But it's not got it's not just got a bitter taste. It's got like a dryness about it, but like it's bittersweet. That hop they've used in there is giving a very nice resinous, bit of smooth bitter. It's giving it a how can you have a smooth bitter? I can't. It's almost like a coffee. You know, if you have a really nice coffee and it's quite bitter, but it's got a smoothness about that bitterness, if you get me. This is a excellent session ale that I think, well done Everards. You have been doing small batch brews. I'm yet to have a tour around since you've moved. I can't wait. You're doing some great. This is about the third one I've had now, and they've all been good. What I call a seesaw beer with two equally matched, it's the first time I've called it a seesaw beer. So this is going to be my seesaw beer. If you hear me talk about a seesaw beer, it means that like you can have like me on one side and my grandson on the other. bush. So bitter, not much sweetness. And yet my grandson is sweet as you wouldn't believe. Or you can have it the other way. My grandson is suddenly like turned into a 40-year-old, and I'm on my last legs, and he's been working out. He's 25 stone. He's like bosh. So it's all sweetness and no real balance, no bitterness there. It's just sweet, sweet, sweet. And I don't like sweet beers. But then you get that. Whoa! You get like, as the grandson gets older, and he puts on, a bit of muscle and such like, because his granddad's a bit fatter than him, and you get a nice little balance. So you got a nice bit of bitterness, then the sweetness comes in, then the bitterness comes back, then the sweetness comes in, then the flavours come from the hops, and then the flavours come from the malts. You know what I mean? It's one of those seesaw beers. I've nearly finished this pint. I've got 7 more to go. I'm not liking this beer because it's Everards Brewery. I'm liking this beer because I like this beer. It's a session ale. It's malty, it's bittery, it's citrusy, but not over citrusy. Yeah. The more, in fact, I can smell the crystal. I can smell the maltiness in there now. So it's not overpowering any part of its flavours or its aromas or its bitterness. Anyway, so yeah, a well balanced, really good, fantastic session. Oh my god, I don't know why I had to look. I knew it was IPA. A huge thank you to Claire as well at Everards. Claire, I hope you don't mind me revealing the hops that you're using in this. I asked her, would you be able to please tell me the hops you've used in this? And also, when I actually had a taste of it, I says to her, oh, could you tell me if there's is there any crystal malt in this? Because I could taste that caramelly toffee taste in it, even from that little tiny sip. So she kindly says to me, yes, there's pale and crystal malts in there. Well, pale malts, I sort of like had that as a base malt. You see, like, I didn't realise, I've researched now, and crikey, I knew a lot of stuff, but I'm learning a lot of stuff as well. I think if I'm going to do these beer reviews, I want to know what I'm talking about. So when they say about like, in the hops in the 1st edition, the 2nd edition, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, the times of the boil, the way the hops are dry hops, like in a tea bag effect. So, you can dry hop for really, I suppose, as long as you like. It's sort of like in the cool side of the brewing. Almost like brewing a tea bag, so you get no bitterness out of the hops at all. You get all the aromas in the dry hopping. I think you dry hop. So I'm just sat here at work, editing the video on a well-earned dinner break. Just putting a little bit of time into the video, and yeah, I keep going on about different hops and different, different methods or whatever. So I've just learned that, like, hop is quite amazing. It's like at the start of the boil, it's going to use them oils in there for the bitterness. But they're volatile, so they're not going to give any flavours or anything. They're just going to basically essentially melt down and just get in there. And the longer you leave that hop in the boil, the more bitterness you're going to get. Obviously, you've got to get the right hop with that big alpha acid content in there. But from what I've heard, you don't want to leave it in for too long, because then the bitterness can get a bit like, not so nice. You don't want like a really overstewed tea. I mean, I like stewed tea. That's probably why I like the really bitter West Coasty, high IBU IPAs. But then the hops can be put like, so you've got like bitterness, flavour and aroma. So the hops can then be put in sort of like in the middle of the boil as it's coming down to get some flavours out of the hops. But then you can also, in the end of the boil, sort of put the hops in, right when it's flame out, and then you're getting more of the aromas. You'll get some flavours in there. But then it's the dry hopping that fascinates me, because I'm having to scoop down. The dry hopping really fascinates me because it just depends how you do it. I've heard of like putting them in like the little bag and dropping them in, but then that won't allow really the oils to sort of like escape as much, so you're not getting as much of the flavouring or the aroma. You can put the hops straight in without being in the bag, and then that's gonna, you're getting like the essential oil sort of melting into it. It's more in the fermentation process, the cold side of it. So yeah, so I'm learning all this, you know. Like, let's chat about it in the comments. It's a beer review. It's not about how to brew, but I just want to understand that if I drink a beer and I think to myself, crikey, this is really bitter, I want to understand that like the reason it's bitter, so bitter, is because that, what hop has it used, what alpha acid content has that hop got, how long has that been in the boil, it's been in a while. I want to be able to, like, you know what I'm tasting. I want to be able to, if it's really citrusy, really florally, really fruity and things like that, I want to be able to think to myself, you know, crikey, that's coming from a lot of mid-boil probably, or dry hopping, or yeah, I want to be able to recognise what part of that is. And this is why it's been fun talking to Claire at Everards Brewery and her getting the information from the brewers about what they've been doing. Anyway, learning all the time. But yeah, back to the video. No beer reviews are ever this long, but I don't care, because you can fast forward. It's a double click. You can fast forward. You can to whatever. But I tend to find if I watch a video that's like, say, 30 minutes long, I'll go fast forward, and then, oh, what's he talking about? I missed that bit. Rewind. Oh no, oh, fast forward, no, rewind. So I tend to just watch the whole thing, and I find that, like, it's all right. Anyway, stay safe, everybody. But yes, what I was going to say, the Spencer Arms, we have an Instagram page, and I'd really love it. I've got 104 subscribers. Thank you so much. So if you watch to the end, you're getting the thank yous. We've got an Instagram page, but we've also got this YouTube page, and we have 104 subscribers on there. And this is what I'm talking about. It's amazing when you have a couple of beers. This is what I'm talking about. So thank you to all them subscribers. And when I talk about following back, the following back is part of following people on the YouTube channels and also following people via Instagram. Spaddo, I'm having to keep coming back in and telling you what's going on. So for 104 subscribers at the minute, thank you to every single one of you. I can't thank you enough. If you're a beer reviewer, or you're a pub, or you're anything to do like Slurpy Dave, who goes around places like talking about beer and that, really interested, really funny guy, really makes me laugh. You know, I will follow you. We will follow you back. I do apologise if we don't follow you back. It's only because you're like me, like a Joe Public. So I don't expect to, if I follow a musician, because he's a musician, I don't expect him to follow me back. I've got a personal page for that. So if you're sort of like me, just an everyday person that wants to follow, you know, a particular channel, you know, I apologise that if we don't follow you back. You know, we want to follow all pub, beer, you know, breweries, whatever related. So yes, so I will put the link to our Instagram page, and I would love it if you would give us a follow. Thank you so much for all the subscribers. Thank you so much for any likes, any comments. Just keep safe, live, laugh, love, and I will be putting on some more photos on our Instagram page probably today, which is my birthday weekend, and I'm going to drink this absolutely dry.